So a couple days has passed and we've gotten a little bit of rain, but I did get the parts in order, so we are going to replace the cable on our mower. So start off by getting the old one off. There's no real easy trick to this. They're supposed to grab them with a set of pliers and you should be able to squeeze them out. Just like so. And then pop the old one off. And then go in repeat order for the new one. So, new one goes in. And pop that in. And then up here, let me get you guys readjusted so you can see. Starting to rain again, so I'm going to try making this kind of quick. But this is the piece that broke, and this is what always breaks on this mower. Not this one, but just mowers in general. So they will attach somewhere like so. This you're just going to have to use some force because the plastic will have to bend around it. So like a couple days has passed and we've gotten a little bit of rain, but the cable, I did get the parts in order. You just got to figure out which way the cable goes on our mower. So pay attention. Start off by getting the old one off. To that. There's no real easy trick to this. They're supposed to grab them with a set of pliers and there you go. It's that easy. Out. Just like so. And then pop the old one off. And then go in repeat order for the new one. So, new one goes in. And pop that in. And then up here, let me get you guys readjusted so you can see. Starting to rain again, so I'm going to try making this kind of quick. But this is the piece that broke, and this is what always breaks on this mower. Not this one, but just mowers in general. So they will attach somewhere like so. This you're just going to have to use some force because the plastic will have to bend around it, just like so. So this is how I sharpen my blades. So I'm using the Ryobi angle grinder with a flap disc underneath it, which is basically a grinding wheel with a bunch of sanding discs, sandpaper, and then you go across your cutting edge, which is on the top side, and it's from here all the way to the end. So let's go ahead and get this sharpened up. There you go. So make sure you do both ends, and most of the cutting edge is actually in the very tip of your blade. So the last inch or two does 90% of the work when it comes to cutting. So that's the most important part, is making sure you get that tip cut. So I'm gonna do the other side off camera. Well, looks like I'm gonna have to tinker this a little bit more. Okay guys, I want to give you a quick update on our snapper. Let me move over here so you guys can see a little bit better. So after some troubleshooting off camera, I figured out the auto choke has a plastic arm that goes from this side of the carburetor across the front, and it's an air vane. So what happens is once the motor turns on and warms up, it flaps out this way, which then opens that choke lever and allows the engine to breathe. So there's also another arm on this side of the engine, and it's kind of like a U shape, so that arm has to go through it. So whoever had this before me, they tore it apart, and she told me that he'd done some work to it, and ever since then it just was hard to start. So I finally figured out what was happening after some thinking of troubleshooting. Found out what was happening is the engine would start, run fine and dandy when it's cold, no big deal, but once it warmed up, it was about impossible to restart. So what was happening is the arm, they had put the plastic lever on the front side of that arm, so it was basically detecting that the engine was warm, but it really wasn't. So what was happening is the choke arm wasn't coming back far enough to register that the choke needed to be on. So that was a quick update for you guys on our snapper engine. So yeah, that was something that I just want to tear apart, figure it out on my own. I should have probably recorded it for you guys to see, but I just wanted to tear it apart for peace of mind for me, so I knew kind of what I was looking at, and figured out, yeah, it's just a simple, just need to undo it and snake the arm through it and good to go. So if you guys got a 6.75 Briggs and Stratton Quantum series engine that starts fine when it's cold, but once it gets warm for any relative amount of time and it's extremely hard to start, take it apart, look for that arm that runs across your air vane that goes over to your arm that is underneath the cowling right next to your muffler. So give you guys a heads up. So yeah, thank you guys very much. Well, that didn't take long. I literally turned the camera off, went to try restarting it, and it would not start. So this is what I was talking about on how it's hard to start. So if I pull back on the lever, give it a pull, so of course it worked this time. Let's try it again. See, it should have started. Should have started. So this is why I think it's either the choke system or I got gunk in the carburetor again. One of the two. So we're going to tear apart this engine for the second time, and I've got some parts that we're going to throw into it and see what happens. Everything's off of a used mower that was running, that locked up, so I'm hoping the carburetor's still good. So we're going to start with, we're probably going to start with just replacing the carburetor. So let's start with doing that first, guys. So I went ahead, swapped the carburetor out with another carburetor that I don't know if it runs or if it don't, but it still doesn't start. The reason why I'm trying to do process of elimination, so there's the old carburetor that I'd rebuilt. I was thinking that maybe the float bowl wasn't allowing enough fuel into the bottom, which is why I was thinking it was fuel issues. So I just sprayed some starter fluid in the intake, and it still does not start. So that tells me it's that tells me it's spark related or compression. I'm gonna roll it on the side of it's not getting proper airflow. So let's tear this apart again. So this is gonna take an 8mm. Should take 3 volts. Okay. Why is this one not coming off? Interesting. Huh. It's almost like it's stripped or broke. No, it's not. Huh. Well, let's go get a flathead screwdriver. I'll be right back, guys. So I was able to get that off, and next thing you're going to need is a 3/8 bit, and there should be 4. Sorry, 3/8 socket. I said bit. Should be 4. This one's missing one. Somebody's been in here before me, obviously. And then forgot there is a 1/4 inch. I think it's 1/4. Nope, 8mm for up top for the oil. Actually, no, I don't even need to take that off. Sorry. This whole thing should pop off. So you take the 4 off, this whole top housing will pop off. This is actually your starter assembly as well. So if you ever need to replace your starter in a Briggs and Stratton, that's how that comes apart. So next thing we are going to work on is replacing this thermostat. Because I believe what's happening is the engine's coming up to temperature and the choke is killing it. So what you got to do is you take a flathead screwdriver in here and bend these tabs. Away, and that makes room for a 7/16 socket. So what happens is this whole assembly will come out, and it's still a little warm. So I'll do my best to show you how this works. So you've got a gasket. So one gasket, you've got your thermostat. And you know what? Yeah, this thing's shot. I'll show you. Then you got another gasket, then you got your muffler. And then your muffler's held on by these 2 bolts, or studs, and that. So let me get you set up on the workbench over here, and I'm going to show you the difference between these and why I think this is the culprit. So let me get you reset up and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, we got you on the bench, and this is the one that came out. This is the other used one. So you notice the adjustments are close, and I'm going to show you how all that adjusts here in a minute. But this is what's supposed to happen. So it's supposed to automatically spring back based on the temperature of what this reads from the motor. So if we hold this up, completely upright, and get it so you guys can see this a little bit better, and if I push on it, it's supposed to return all the way back. It kind of does, and it kind of doesn't. It's really grungy. The spring is kind of bad. Compared to this one seems to be a lot freer. You can see what I'm talking about. That goes back without hesitation. This thing feels pretty bad. So we're going to swap out this as well. I think this might be the culprit of why we're having such intermittent hard starts at cold temp. So let's get you back on the lawnmower, and I'm going to swap batteries real quick before we do that, and we're going to start reassembling this lawnmower back together. Trying a different angle for you guys so you can see a little bit better. So first things first, we are going to start reassembling our muffler assembly. So what you do with this is you take your 2 studs, shove them through, take a washer, or sorry, gasket I should say. This is only going to go on one way, And the trick to this is making sure that the thermostat is facing inside, not towards the muffler, not towards the motor. And then the adjustable piece, this is adjustable, faces forwards. And I'll show you why that matters in a minute. So then we're going to put this on here. Actually, I'm going to check this muffler out real quick. We'll leave it like it is. I think the muffler's okay. Sometimes the mufflers can get clogged up. It's more of a 2-stroke thing than it is a 4-stroke thing. It's like your weed eaters and stuff like that. I've seen clogged carburetor or clogged exhausts give this issue. So while I'm working on this, I'm going to give you a friendly warning. Oh, that doesn't go right. It is summertime here, so that looks better. So let me finish what I was saying real quick. It's summertime here. It's like 90 degrees today. Actually, it's like 88, but it feels like 100% freaking humidity. So my outdoor videos is going to slow down a little bit, just simply for the fact that I can't make all of these as quick as I was before. So it's more of just a limitation of myself with the weather and everything else. I don't want to kill myself. So what you need to look for on adjusting the chokes on this, so this is your air vane that I was talking about that slides across. It opens and closes accordingly to the air vane on the other side. And then you've got some hash marks that are on this plastic piece, which is right here and right here. So those need to be adjusted accordingly to when this thermostat is cold, based on this arm here. So this arm, this is magnetized. I don't know why it's magnetized. So this arm is adjustable. So what you do is this arm needs to be adjusted between the first and the second mark here and here when this is cold. So when it's cold, it would be all the way back and it would be smack dab in the middle, so that you can bend this in and out accordingly to the way you think it needs to be set. So I'm going to make it a little bit on the proud side and aim it out a little bit farther. And then you also want to make sure that it's between these two marks vertically this way, so you can bend it this in or out accordingly. So that way it's free within the cavity that it needs to be. So what happens is, as the engine kicks on, this fan opens up, and as the motor warms up, this thermostat's going to keep this open. So then when the thermostat recognizes that it's cold again, it allows this to come back, which then shuts your choke. So that's how this works. So I'm going to reassemble all of this back together. I am not going to make you guys watch me reassemble this for what feels like the 30th time, but I wanted to give you guys an idea of how these choke settings, oops, hope you guys fell. Let me get you readjusted here, sorry. Okay. Oop, you just fell again. My camera mount's starting to break on me, so let's see if I can see this for you guys, so you can see these marks I was talking about. And yep, you can see them. So you notice that mark and that mark is where this arm needs to be at. Yep. And then this mark and this mark when the engine's cold. So we're gonna tear this back together real quick, or put it back together, and I'll bring you guys right back. So I apologize, I think I just did all of that with no mic, so I'm gonna redo this again real quick. So what you're gonna do, take the old coil pack off. To put the new one on, you would typically use a business card to shove between the flywheel and your coil. Problem is I didn't have one handy, so I used some packing material that Amazon would send you in their packaging, and it's just paper is all it is. So, and what you're doing with that is you're just setting the gap, so as this spins, there's certain marks on the side of this which are magnets, and those magnets what catch this, which then turns around and drives spark to your spark plug. So that's how this works. So I had it running, it was running fine and dandy for, I don't know, 2 minutes, and then it just lost all, like just died. So that's why I'm thinking the coil pack is bad. It was extremely hot when I removed it, so I think it's just a bad coil, which I think is the gremlin of why this has been such a pain in the butt with intermittent starting and staying running and not running right. So let's reassemble this and test it out. So, I think I got it figured out. I think it's just simply a bad carburetor. Yes, sometimes troubleshooting these lawnmowers can be a pain in the butt. So, this goes to show you that rebuilding carburetors sometimes does not fix the issue. So in this case, you've seen it running. I've had it running for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. And I have to manually shut the choke to get it to take fuel, and it'll run for, you see it like 1 second, it'll start dying off again, then I hit the choke, it'll pick back up, run again, die. Hit the choke, pick back up, keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over. So I'm gonna order a new carburetor, and yeah. So I was thinking maybe it picked up some junk, and my bet is it probably did. Probably from the old air filter or fuel filter that I forgot to replace. So now it's just got a straight hose going in, because this little thing's not going to do a whole lot anyway. But yes, that I believe is the culprit as to why we are fighting the issues that we're fighting. So we're going to get a new replacement carburetor, get it delivered, and we'll pick this video back up. So we are on another day, and we have our replacement carburetor. So let's go ahead and tinker with getting this swapped out real quick. It is raining outside, so I'm going to try to do this kind of cattywampus-ish off the center so you guys can still see, but so can I. That's the most important part. Oh, I already don't have the right size socket because that takes a 1/4 inch. Go get that real quick. Dropping everything. Well, that's not good. I just dropped the air filter, which had the 3 screws in it that holds the air filter on. So, they'll love it. This is why I hate working on the ground. Because you really can't see what you're doing. So I got that broke free. Got a replacement carburetor in the box. Now inside the carburetor box, got a new gasket and a new O-ring as well. So I'm going to be using both of those. The O-ring is still on the motor, which it just fell off. So we'll put the new one on. Remove our linkage. Actually, you know what? Let's do fuel. Let's go and do the fuel line first. No, that's not ideal, but it's hard to fight this thing. Set that aside. Set that up there. Got access to everything. So our new O-ring. Put that on. We'll put our governor linkage on, or throttle linkage, however you want to look at that. Just like so. And two bolts. Those, that back. Hook up our choke linkage. We're gonna fill one issue. What in the world is going on with this? There it goes. That. Hook up our fuel hose. I'll get the clamp on later. So let's do a cold start on this. So I'm gonna turn the camera off, get readjusted. But yeah, I'm gonna turn the camera off, get readjusted, that way I'm not bumping into everything and this camera's not getting all shaky, and then we're gonna give this a cold start. So I'll be right back, guys. Okay, let's go ahead and give this a shot. So pull back on the handle. far so good. Turn the idle down a little bit. Seemed like it was a little on the high side with the new carburetor, so let's try restarting it. So it's been running, I don't know, 5 minutes. It's nice and warm. Put the air filter assembly back on the front, so let's try restarting it. There we go. So this mower's done. So all of this time tinkering with everything, trying to get it fixed, was just to end up being a bad carburetor. Even though we rebuilt it, cleaned it up with the ultrasonic cleaner, the whole 9 yards, just sometimes they just don't want to rebuild, and that's one of them. So just because we can get it to run, don't mean it was running right. But yeah, new carburetor, fixed problem. That's what we needed to know. So awesome. Make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up if you like the video. If not, give me a thumbs down. I do track the thumbs to keep an idea of what kind of content you guys like to watch. Also, make sure you hit the subscription button if you like the videos that I've been making, so that way I can continue to keep doing this. The subscriptions and the thumbs have a lot to do with how well the video gets available content whenever you guys search for videos. It uses all of that for the algorithm, so that way the more thumbs ups and the more subscriptions I get, the easier it is for you to find my videos. Other than that, I'm going to wrap this video up, and thank you guys for watching, and have a wonderful and fantastic day. And this is being done on July 3rd, so you guys have a wonderful July 4th too. Bye.